In this screencast, I'm going to walk you through our syllabus for spring 2015. This is for Introduction to Information Science. This is my online class. My name is Shelly Moore, and here is my email address up here at the top. There's also my office hours when you can come in and talk to me. I do recommend that you at least let me know that you're coming just to make sure I haven't changed my plans at all, but I do try and be around during those time slots for students that have any questions. I am located in the multipurpose building, which is behind the classroom building in Nampa. It's also where the library is located, so we're upstairs from the library. That's where we're at. And all of our full-time business faculty are in that same location, so if you need to talk to any of them, they're in the same place. I'm not going to read through this entire document, but we'll highlight the main points. Basically, in this class, we're going to be covering Microsoft Office. The primary programs we're going to cover are Word, Excel, Access, and PowerPoint, and specifically in Office 2013, and we'll talk about that more as we move through the document. This course is completely online, so we do not have any sessions where we get together face-to-face. 16-week class starts January 12th, ends May 8th. The weekly content, as you'll see also on the schedule, opens on Saturday morning of the week that's about to start and closes 8 days later on that Sunday at midnight. So you have 2 weekends to work on all of the assignments that are there. And once again, that just talks through that we'll be covering Office 2013. Now, this class does meet the computer literacy requirement that you have in order to graduate from CWI. There are 3 ways you can meet this requirement. You can either take CISA 101, you can pass the CSA exams, which you can take at the testing center, or you can take this class, BUSA 215. The nice thing about this class is that it also does transfer directly over to BSU, and in BSU they have 3 1-credit classes. They have a Word, Excel, and Access 1-credit class, and so this transfers directly over to those 3 credits over there if you're planning to go to BSU. Now, this next section talks about the course objectives and primarily all the different skills that we're going to talk about and learn throughout this class. I am not going to read through all of these, but you're welcome to take a look at them. So there was general technology, here's internet, email, and then we've got Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and Access. And then we finish the semester with website creation and talk just a little bit about websites. We do that the last 2 weeks of class. Now, the textbook we're using is the Go book that's by Pearson, and also the My IT Lab component that comes along with that. You can get the e-text if you like. It's a cheaper option, and I did send an announcement out about all the different cost and pricing options for the class there. So the textbook is there, and that's optional. If you want to have the textbook, that's up to you. Then the online component is something you must have. Most of our homework is completed inside of My IT Lab, so you cannot go without that. I will make a note about those of you that like to use Mac computers. Mac computers have Office 2011 on them, and that is not compatible with the homework that we are doing. We are studying Office 2013, and so there are some assignments you cannot complete on the Mac. That assignment primarily is the grader project. Almost all of our other assignments are internet-based inside of browser, and so it won't matter which computer that you're on. But for the grader projects and for a couple of the exams, you do have to have Office 2013 on your computer in order to complete them. Now, we do have computer labs at all of the CWI campuses. The one in Ada, and then there's like 4 different computer labs in the Canyon County area, and all of them have Office 2013 on them. So, and because you have a full 2 weekends, you should be able to get somewhere in order to get your homework done if you are a Mac user. Let's see. So as we talked about Microsoft Office 2013, do make sure that Access is included in your version of Office that you have on your computer. Some of them you can pay less money for, and it doesn't include Access. You want the Professional Edition or the University Edition. Those both include Access. And I think typically the 365 edition you can get that's cloud-based also has Access in there as well. And just recently, this last semester, Microsoft came out with a way for students to get Office 2013 for free, and so that link is right here, and it's also in that announcement I had sent out. So just make sure that you have what you need on your computer, especially since this is an online class. I will note that at the end of the PowerPoint section, which is at the very end of class, we finish 2 weeks before class is over, you are going to create a PowerPoint presentation and you will need to include audio in that PowerPoint presentation, which means you do need to have a microphone of some kind. Now, I found that most students either have one laying around or they have a sibling that has one or a friend, and if nothing else, you can get one at Walmart for like $10. So just make sure you know that will be coming up at the end. There are also some that you can check out from the library as well. I did get them to order some. So you can do that as well. Just remember that other students will do presentations, so you want to make sure you get those early if you do need to check them out. Now, as a part of this class, we have made a switch that we changed last fall in terms of how we're testing some of our things, and that is the Microsoft Office Specialist exams. So these are exams that are put on by Microsoft, and in order to pass this class, your exam for Word and Excel need to be the MOS exams, and you will take those at the testing center. So you will need to schedule that. You will have 3 weeks once we're done with that section in order to go in, take that test, and pass it. We have really good success with students being able to pass that exam after going through the homework in the class as well as the practice exams, which I will give you as we get closer to that date. But you do need to pass both of those exams, and they have to be the Microsoft Office Specialist exams in order to pass the class. So just make sure you're aware of that. And you do have to go to a CWI testing center. If you are somewhere else that's not in the Valley and you go to a different testing center, it will cost you $100 to take that test. So please make sure that you schedule that in a way where you can get to one of our testing centers to take that exam. Okay, so outcomes assessment. There are 5 exams that you have to take in this class, and you must score 70% or better on every exam in order to pass the class. And that part of the reasoning behind that is because it meets the computer literacy requirement for the college, and so you have to be proficient in all 5 of these areas. So general technology, internet, and email, we will take in week 2, and I will get you ready for that. You then have the Microsoft Office Specialist exams for Word and Excel. And then for Access and PowerPoint, those exams will be done much like the greater projects that we will complete. We'll talk about that more, but it will be for the whole entire section, not just one chapter. So those you can take at home. So those are the 5 sections that we kind of cover primarily in this class. Your grades are weighted, so we have tests and quizzes that make up 50% of your grade. Homework and participation are 30%, and projects are 20%. And traditional grading scale, 90 to 100% is an A, and so on. So there will be a variety of assignments, which you can look on the schedule to see what those are and when they're due. We basically use Blackboard and My IT Lab in this class. So Blackboard is where a lot of your content is going to show up, and some of the assignments that I've created will show up. And then the majority of your assignments will be completed inside My IT Lab. And I do keep the entire grade book in My IT Lab, even those assignments that I grade, the computer doesn't grade, that weren't originally created in My IT Lab. All of your grades you'll see show up in both My IT Lab and in Blackboard. I will sync those every week. So part of being in this class, it's really important that you understand where your assignments need to be completed. Do I turn it into Blackboard or do I turn it into My IT Lab? And that's clearly shown on the schedule, so make sure you print that out, you keep it with you, you cross things off as you go. It will help you know what it is and where you need to be completing things. Now, for communication, I do have an Ask the Instructor forum in the discussion board in Blackboard. That's a great place to ask me questions, especially if you think other students might have the same question, or you think there might be something wrong with one of the assignments, or you just can't figure it out. That's a great place to go there. Other than that, email is a really great way to get a hold of me. And let's see, instructor feedback. A lot of your assignments are graded by the computer, and most of your assignments you have a limited attempts on as well, which is really nice for you. So you can finish an assignment, turn it in, and automatically know what your grade was on that. You can do it again if you need to, and so on. Almost all the assignments that I get from you that I need to grade, I typically will grade probably on Tuesdays this semester. That's when I have a little bit more time to get those done. So I try and get those back to you within a couple of days. The only exception is we do have a research paper, and that takes me about a week to grade. Everything else I try and get graded pretty quick. Talked a little bit already about the discussion board. Email's a great way to get a hold of me. I have in here that it will take me 48 hours. That's primarily just because of the weekend. Most of the questions you guys have, I can answer pretty quickly. I also teach business statistics. It takes a little longer to answer those questions. But I will typically get back to you within a few hours. I try and have all my emails answered by the end of the day before I go to bed. So go ahead and shoot me an email if you have any questions at all. We don't really have absences in this class, but late work, just so you know, is not accepted. You have 2 full weekends to get this done and all of the days during the week to get it done. It is your responsibility to make sure you give yourself enough time to get things done. Please do not wait till the last minute to get those done. Like I said, I do not accept late work. Make sure you have it in on time. I do not add students to my social networking sites, but I do have made an exception lately with LinkedIn. And so if you do want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I will accept you there. So just so you're aware. Remember that this is an online class, and almost every kind of communication we're going to have is through text. So just be aware of how you're phrasing sentences and what you're trying to say. Be careful with sarcasm. Use emotion icons, to kind of say, yes, I was just kidding, or, whatever. Just be aware of how you write. It's really important, especially for the business student, when you're going to be writing professionally in different ways, even if it's memos and emails to colleagues. It's just really important to reread what you've written before sending it out and make sure it sounds the way you expected it to sound. This class is not self-study. Each week on the 16 weeks, your content will open up along with your assignments. I do expect you to participate. There are blogs throughout the semester where you're expected to write and respond to other people in class. So it's just your responsibility to make sure you have the time to come in every week and get your work done. I expect you to set aside 3 to 4 hours per week for each credit hour. So that says 9 to 12 hours per week is the general expectation for a 3-credit class. You probably won't spend quite that much time on this class. I would guess it's probably closer to 7 if I had to guess. And different weeks are different just depending on the different assignments that we have. As I said earlier, late work is not accepted. Each of the exams must be passed by 70%. So just reiterating. This is in your please maintain copies of assignments. You don't really have hard copies these days, and most everything gets turned into my IT lab, so there's not too much of a problem with this. But just make sure that you are checking your grades and make sure that they're accurate. Please don't, if there's a 2-week period is what I've given myself. So if you haven't told me anything's wrong within 2 weeks, then I assume that everything is fine. You can't come to me the last week of class and say all these things are wrong from week 2. Okay, so please make sure you're checking your grades and that everything is in there correctly. Make sure I haven't made any kind of mistakes. Behavioral expectations just says I expect you to be respectful to everyone else and be thoughtful and courteous in the way that you communicate with everyone else. Academic dishonesty, please make sure that you are doing your own work. I do catch this some in this class, and it is always very frustrating for me to catch it. For one thing, inside my IT lab, if you turn in someone else's grade or project, it flags it, and I know that you turned in someone else's grade or project. So please do your own work on your own computer and turn it in, because I hate catching people being dishonest. It's not fun. You're in this class, you're paying for this class to learn, and so I hope that you take that responsibility upon yourself and do your own work. The other place I see dishonesty happen every once in a while is in writing the research paper. It is important that you give credit where credit is due. If it is not your idea, it's someone else's idea, and you need to put that in your research paper. And the research paper that we write is where you go out and research what the experts are saying. It's not a personal opinion paper. So that means that pretty much everything in your paper needs to be cited. So just make sure that you're taking someone else's idea, you're phrasing that idea the way that they had it, and then giving them credit for the idea that they had. And we don't really have any emergency procedures for an online class, and end of evaluations will come up at the very end. So once again, it is great to have you in class. I hope you have a lot of fun, and please just let me know if you have any questions. And that's the end of this screencast.